Hardest job of all? Well, that's what all the stay-at-home mums tell you. A thankless, payless festival of tears, glazed knees and bum wiping. Oh, it is quite hard. Don't get me wrong. It's tiring looking after kids. And annoying. And expensive. But mostly it's boring. Deadly boring. I personally found that after 6 months maternity leave, I couldn't wait to get back to work and spend time with actual adults. I didn't have to watch bloody Barney the dinosaur or pretend I wanted to play crap board games. I could talk about politics or telly or even the sodding weather. Oh, it was great to be a real adult again. I loved the kids though. They were really annoying, but I loved them. Something really sweet about the way they loved me unconditionally. Even when I was angry and unreasonable with them. Even when I was shouted and shouting at them. Just because they were children. God, that never made me feel good about myself. It's not okay to be crap with children. Which is an ironic statement considering what I've done. If you're familiar with Euripides' play Medea, then it sounds to me husband being a bastard, buggering off to be with a young model, leaving me to be the mother to his kids. But this isn't like that though. I haven't done what I've done to upset him or destroy the one thing that he held most dear, which is mainly because he's already dead. Nothing spectacular, just a heart attack in his sleep, I think. Admittedly, he was quite young, 50 years old, but he smoked and drank and he worked too hard. Not uncommon. It's a bit of a shock though, waking up to find a corpse next to me. I knew he was dead even before I opened my eyes, because I brushed against his arm and it was cold, too cold. I just lay there for a while hoping I'd touch something else, or he'd already got out of bed and replaced himself with a selection of joints of meat from the fridge. And then the kids come in and I told him that Daddy was asleep. Oh, they did their usual irritating bed bouncing. Then they went back off the TV. Couldn't bring myself to touch him again. Just got out of bed and made a cup of tea in the kitchen. Made a potful like I always do. Got 2 cups and poured both because I thought if he's alive, then he'll want tea. But if he's dead, then I'll want 2 cups. Oh, funny what you think in these situations. When I entered the room again, I realised I'd not actually looked at him yet. Oh, his eyes were closed, but he was pale. I've been told before that people really do look dead, not like they're sleeping at all. Oh, and it's true. There's no mistaking it. I sat on the edge of the bed and drank both cups of tea. I had to touch him at some time, I knew. I went for the armpit in the end. It's a funny place to choose, I grant you. But my thinking was that would be one of the last bits to stay warm, so I could see how really dead he was. I've also seen death as a 2-stage thing. Stage 1 is when your heart stops, and stage 2 is when your brain is dead. And if he still had some warmth, then maybe stage 2 might not have completely finished. It's a weird thing to want to check, but that's what I wanted to do. The armpit was cold. All signs of life had gone. I sat there for a really long time. I even considered a chapter of my book. I just had absolutely no idea what I was going to do. None whatsoever. And at that moment, I was the only one who knew. And as far as the world was concerned, absolutely nothing had changed. It was a Saturday and his work colleagues wouldn't have missed him, so no one yet had rung to speak to him. Even the light on his phone that said he'd had a text wasn't flashing. Literally no one had a clue that he'd ceased to exist. So I decided to keep it that way. Well, at least for me. I decided that I didn't really want to have to deal with the shocked faces and he's in a better place, Analogies. The people calling round to check I was okay. Just wasn't doing it. Now that's obviously easier said than done. Come Monday morning, someone from his work would start calling up and asking questions. Oh, and his mum tended to ring up on a Sunday to see how we all were. And to be honest, the kids would know as soon as they got bored of whatever nonsense they were watching, which meant that keeping it quiet was going to last for all about an hour at the most. So I ran a bath. I filled it with bubbles and got out all the kids' toys. I don't usually bath them on a Saturday morning, but we've been pretty poor at keeping a set schedule on these sorts of things, so they didn't ask any questions. Oh, they're still just small enough to fit in the bath together, but it always leads to fighting and arguing. I washed the hair and I just watched them as they played. The oldest one thinks it's really funny to make a beard out of bubbles, and the younger one, he just laughs when he does it. Medea Syndrome is named after the play and is generally accepted as a phenomenon of a female parent killing her kids as a mean of extracting revenge on a spouse. Loads of reported cases, and people often write countless academic papers and PhD theses on the subject. I didn't kill mine for revenge, though. I killed them to save them from the grief, from having to deal with the moment of knowing that their father had gone and wasn't ever going to be able to hold them again. I killed them so they'd never lose their childhood innocence and see the cruelty of the world. I killed them out of motherly kindness. There's a poem by Seamus Heaney, the Nobel Prize-winning poet, called The Early Pages. It's where he describes watching kittens being drowned when he was 6 years old. I remember a line from the poem that goes, "Sure, isn't it better for them now? For a brief moment of terror, they get an eternity of peace. I think it's better for my babies now." They were more difficult to hold down, though, than kittens, particularly both at the same time. But adult strength prevailed in the end. The house feels quiet. The kids are still in the bath. My husband's still in bed. I've set up a rope from the kitchen door frame. I was just tidying up the house before I use it. Looks like it's going to be a lovely sunny day outside. Oh, that'd be perfect for a walk and a picnic. But we're all staying in today.